I'm going to start this conversation with a comparison first, before we even get into what actually happened and what I saw from it, and pretty much what everybody else saw from it as well. I want to start by saying this. No backstory, no feud, no, I guess, history, if you will, other than where their characters are at this point in time. If I were to propose to you the choice of watching one of the following two matches, which one would you pick? Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, or Kevin Owens or Kevin Steen, whatever you want to call him, versus Alex Riley? Okay? I can put my top dollar that 9 out of 10. As a matter of fact, I'd go as far as a 10 out of 10, but I imagine there's always that one person. 9 out of 10 of you would want to see Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns over Owens versus Riley any day of the week. No backstory, nothing behind it. Just these two people are in a ring together and are wrestling. Brock versus Roman would win every single time. And it's mostly because of the fact that, does anybody really want to see Alex Riley? No, sure, you would want to see Kevin Owens in that case, but the second guy there doesn't compare to Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. So why is it that more people can care about a match between Kevin Owens and Alex Riley and yet feel such a disconnect in a match between Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns? And it's very simply the fact that the build to it is very important. I always say this, at any given moment, WWE can book a feud, get a guy over, and make that story believable within a month. It's always possible. They can always do it. They've done it in the past. Just look at how quickly Cesaro went from joke to pinning Randy Orton and all of a sudden becoming a contender for the WWE Championship. It can happen instantly, and you can do it with almost anyone. Almost anyone. There are some guys that believable aspect just doesn't happen for. Look at Alex Riley and Kevin Steen. Or Kevin Owens, I should say. I apologize. With Kevin Owens, essentially what he did was he got pissed off when he came to commentary and he felt disrespected by Alex Riley. He goes and he takes Alex Riley and throws him over the announce table to start their feud. Doesn't have to beat him to a pulp, just simply throws him over the announce table. That gets Alex Riley riled up enough to go to the office, talk to William Regal, and say that he wants a match with him. William Regal simply lays out, you have to choose between being a commentator or a wrestler. He chooses to be a commentator. Until Kevin Owens comes out, pours water on him, and continues to just be an absolute dick to this guy. And Alex Riley has to sit there and not do anything. He's held back by Jason Albert and the rest of the commentators there because he wants to keep that commentator job, yet he wants to absolutely crush Kevin Owens. So he's finally had enough. After having the water poured on him, he goes to Regal and says, I want to wrestle. Doesn't immediately get that shot at Owens, but it's already building. You want to see it because a lot of us want to see, yes, Alex Riley gets squashed by Owens, but you want to see it because there's actually a rivalry here. There's a reason to want to watch the match. Owens is being a dick to this guy. You want to at least see Riley get in the ring and try to get some sort of offense or fight back for himself. So they give him the match against CJ Parker. He wins the match. And you go into the Kevin Owens match all of a sudden, and he cuts a promo backstage too. And there's just such an intense fire and a fuel inside the man that you truly believe that he wants to kick Kevin Owens' ass. Granted, does that happen? No. Because Kevin Owens is the NXT champion, and Alex Riley is a guy who came back from commentary and tried to enter back into the wrestling ring. However, you care about it because the story was properly built. Very small things. They didn't have to absolutely wail on each other, absolutely, demolish each other. They waited for that until they got in the ring. And even in ways, Alex Riley still has reasons to be mad at Kevin Owens, especially after what happened in Columbus where, Finn Balor came out Oh no, he still tried to beat him up afterwards, and Finn Balor came out to stop him. And even when he exited out of the ring, Kevin Owens still found a way to get a cheap shot in uh, at Riley before he left. That was a great moment too. It was excellent. He stomped him on his way out, and it all made sense together. It wasn't the greatest match ever. It wasn't a 5-star match, but it had a good build to it, a good storyline, and the match was pretty much what you wanted. You got what you wanted out of that. This Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns feud is between, if I'm being completely objective here, okay, we're not talking storyline. I don't care about the fact that Roman Reigns is the number one contender and he's the guy facing Brock Lesnar, okay? I have no gripes against that. I don't care. I'm not sitting here, preaching for Daniel Bryan or any other superstar to go up against this guy, okay? Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble. He beat Daniel Bryan at Fastlane. He's earned the right to be here. Looking at this completely objectively, the storyline going into this is that Brock Lesnar is this unstoppable, unforgiving, relentless animal who has gone through and crushed guys like CM Punk at SummerSlam of last year, or 2 years ago, I should say, who has defeated the Undertaker's undefeated, conquered the Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania last year when he F5'd him 3 times and actually had him get hospitalized. He absolutely squashed John Cena at SummerSlam. He goes into Night of Champions, and granted, even though by DQ, 4 AAs, 4 times Cena hit the AA and still did not get pinned. He goes into a match against John Cena and Seth Rollins and still wins, even though he was sidelined for about 5-ish minutes. After being put through a table by Seth Rollins, he pops back up, gets back in the ring, and destroys Cena and Rollins, and still retains his title. Absolute monster. And the number one contender is Roman Reigns, a guy who at one point was actually competing for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. A lot of people don't really remember that, is that he was in a 4-man match between, I want to say it was Randy Orton, John Cena, Roman Reigns, and Kane at that 4-way match. It was for Battleground. And then he also competed in the ladder match as well, where Cena won. Right? Am I remembering this correctly? I feel like I missed a step somewhere. No, I think that's right. Or was it that Cena won the ladder match, right? And then they went into Battleground afterwards, right? And that's where he defended it, and then he lost it to Lesnar afterwards. Okay. He was in contention for the WWE Championship. He gets injured. He comes back from injury, goes and wins the Royal Rumble. The story that they're telling is that his lineage, his family are full of WWE superstars, his Samoan culture. You look at guys like Yokozuna and Rikishi, the Usos, The Rock is his cousin. It's a storyline that he's pretty much the next great superstar out of that lineage of Samoans, right? And he's this juggernaut, this powerhouse. He has gone and speared Mark Henry, the world's strongest man, through the barricade. He's had nights where he just goes out and absolutely just obliterates everyone. Last year at the Royal Rumble, he eliminated 12 people in one show, in one Royal Rumble. That's the most eliminations in any Royal Rumble. There's a lot of credibility behind Roman going into this. Yet the problem with all of this, with all the credentials that each guy has, the problem is that we never really got them face to face and talking to each other in the middle of the ring, which is weird because there are nights where Brock Lesnar is in the ring and Roman Reigns never comes out. And Paul Heyman will cut a promo, and God bless Paul Heyman, because yes, I understand that he can be a great promo, but that's not enough. And if anything proved it, last night proved it. Paul Heyman cuts promo after promo, constantly talking about Roman Reigns and talking about his family and pretty much down talking Roman the whole time. And the most that we get out of Roman Reigns is just him kind of saying, they say I can't, I can. Deal. This is Brock Lesnar, who says that he is going to beat the living shit out of Roman Reigns. I think, what was it? He's going to beat the fuck out of him? Was word for word what he said? Something like that? Close to that? This is a man who Paul Heyman has pretty much said, he's pretty much delivering the fact that he's going to give him a prison beating, I think is what Paul Heyman once said. And Roman Reigns says that he believes that he can beat Brock Lesnar. And that he will, that he knows that he's getting into a fight. Yet there's been this weird element of respect. It's always weird to me that Roman will come out and talk about how much he respects Paul and yet never does anything like Superman punch this guy in the face. All this guy has done is shit talk you the whole time. And then last night's confrontation. We get to this point where these guys have not actually talked to each other. And some people have said, oh, well, we talked to him last night. No, he didn't. Or the week before. No, he didn't. He talked to a camera that is not talking face to face to Brock Lesnar. This is like somebody on Twitter talking shit about me, right? And we are like a house away from each other. And I go outside and I call him out and he never comes out and actually talks to me. Or him, just talking on Twitter and never actually talking to me in person, even though we're right next to each other. Don't you think that element is kind of weird? That's not actually talking to the person. So we finally get them in the ring. And there was actually a point in which Brock Lesnar is in the ring there with Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman is cutting his promo. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, Paul Heyman's doing a very good job here in building heat, but why has Roman Reigns not cut this guy off yet? Roman Reigns literally waited until Paul Heyman's promo was finished. This is way after 11 to 5 o'clock here Eastern time. And he finally makes his way down to the ring. He goes. And he stands in front of Brock and doesn't even say anything. You know what the weird thing about this too? There was no contract signing for this. If I'm not mistaken, there was a contract signing for Lesnar and Undertaker. There was a contract signing for Seth Rollins, Cena, and Lesnar. I think there was even a contract signing for Rusev and Cena. There wasn't even a contract signing for this. No contract signing, no actual confrontation. This was finally it. They're finally meeting face to face. That huge disconnect that we've had this entire feud can finally be resolved in these next few minutes. And Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns don't really say anything to each other. All Brock does is put his title in Roman's face. Roman goes and then snatches the title away. And the crowd reacts. Whether they were booing or oohing or whatever, it doesn't matter. The crowd reacted to this. Because nobody does that to Brock. As a matter of fact, you disrespect Brock, you're getting an ass beating. Okay? We've seen it in the past. When Seth Rollins curb stomped Brock Lesnar during that contract signing, he came out the next week on Raw, and the first thing he said was, Seth Rollins, get your ass out here, boy. I'm here to fight. Because he was going to whoop his ass. And normally, Brock Lesnar is the aggressor. If you're in the ring with him and you disrespect him or you say anything about him or he just feels pissed off, if you look at Brock Lesnar the wrong way, he is ready to snap and attack. That is his character. And for the first time ever in my life, I've seen Brock Lesnar suddenly just become kind of a bitch. That was so weird to see. Brock Lesnar has his title taken from him. First of all, I've never seen anybody have the audacity to just straight up take the title from him. Okay? Not only did he take the title from him, but then Brock doesn't do anything immediately. He stops and then he actually kind of backed up. And I'm like, what? That's not Brock. Brock should be ready to go ahead and beat this guy. Give us a preview of this prison beating that he's going to get. And then Brock Lesnar goes and tries to rip the title back from him. And instead, they go in this little tussle tug of war thing. And they stop and just hold the title in the middle. And the camera zooms in and they fade out. And that's it. How is anybody supposed to get hyped for this match? How? No sort of swinging, no sort of physicality, nothing. Look at Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. Okay? At some point, they got to their boiling point with the whole respect thing and shaking hands and whatnot, and they finally just went at each other, the Raw before they went into Fastlane. And it was brutal, it was vicious, but it wanted you to see the match. It got to that point because beforehand we were all kind of like, well, I guess they're feuding, but I mean, what are we going to get? Like a normal wrestling match? That's dumb. No, these two should be hating each other right now. And we finally got that moment where it happened. I'm not saying that it absolutely had to be a beatdown. It didn't need to be that. At the most, what could have happened there is some sort of tease where Brock maybe goes for a German suplex and Roman slithers his way out. He's a little bigger than some of the other guys, okay? Just a little bit. Maybe he could have just, and more athletic too, so he could have just slithered his way out of a German suplex or an F5. Maybe Roman, after getting back on the attack after that, goes for a Superman punch, and Brock gets out of the way, and they both see that they're in an even. You can tease it like that. Just anything to show some aggressiveness out of these guys would have been great. Would have made that segment and that promo a bit more bearable. But no, they didn't go with that. Instead, they went with, let's play tug of war. And that's why all the memes are happening now with all the teddy bear and the Lego and my ego thing. Because that's what it was. These were two kids fighting over a toy. That's exactly what this was. Now, some people have said to me, well, Blackjack, you've said that Randy, when Randy Orton beat up Seth Rollins, there was no reason to watch that match. So why are you saying that they have to fight each other here or have some sort of physical altercation? Way different. The circumstances are completely different. This is not the same thing. Seth Rollins and Randy Orton story, okay? Seth Rollins curb stomped Randy Orton on the steps and put him out of action for months. Okay? The revenge there is that Randy Orton wants to get back at the Authority. This isn't about getting a pinfall or a victory. He wants revenge. He wants to beat the crap out of Seth Rollins. He wants to get his hands on him and make him pay. We got that already. So why is there a need for a match? That's why it doesn't make sense there. Because we saw Randy Orton go and pretty much take Seth Rollins, who didn't fight back, was pretty much ragdolling the whole way through, get his ass beat for 10 minutes. Why is there a need for the match now? Because the hatred, I mean, sure, you can still say he hates the guy and wants to maybe beat him up a little more, but we've seen the revenge. At this point, if Randy Orton does any more, he looks more like a heel. He looked like a heel the night that he did that to Seth Rollins. I almost felt bad for Seth that night. So you can't compare two guys who are looking for a pinfall and competing for the WWE Championship having an altercation the night on the go-home show to WrestleMania to a blood feud where the purpose is to beat the person to an absolute pulp. You can't compare the two. They're two different feuds. That argument is completely invalid. It goes back to like Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, where yes, Dean Ambrose getting a victory and a pinfall would would be the way to end the feud, and that's ideally what we want. Is that, yes, in wrestling terms, getting a pinfall does matter, but overall, Dean Ambrose wanted revenge for what Seth Rollins did when he turned their backs on the Shield, and he went and he attacked them and wailed on him on a chair, and then through all that, curb stomping him through cinder blocks and putting him out for a whole month of action. Everything that he did to him led up to that Hell in a Cell match. Sure, there were times where Ambrose would go and just, be able to sneak up on him and just wail on him. But he wanted Seth Rollins to pay, to go through absolute hell. And he never really got that on Raw. We finally got it in Hell in a Cell when the two guys went through the table and Dean kept wailing on him with the chair. And he brought out the kendo sticks and everything and just absolutely went to town on Seth Rollins. And then he almost got the ultimate revenge when he set Seth's head on the cinder blocks and was getting ready to curb stomp him through those cinder blocks. That would have been the ultimate payoff. That is how Randy Orton and Seth Rollins should be built. It's that, yeah, maybe Orton gets an RKO on him and then just starts to taunt him and then says, I want you at Mania, one-on-one, no interference, just us in a ring. Yeah. But when he gets a 10-minute beatdown and goes absolutely to town on him, there's no reason for the match. And that's the issue here with Brock and Roman, is that the build has been an absolute letdown. That segment last night was absolutely underwhelming. Why would anybody be invested in a championship match between these two guys if they don't even seem like they really want to fight each other? When Brock Lesnar, this conqueror, this destroyer that Paul Heyman has built up this whole time, that he's pretty much a guy that destroys anything in his path, goes absolutely out of character and backs up and just tussles with Roman Reigns. Not even tussles with him, he tussled with the belt. And then Roman Reigns, who's been shit-talked the whole time, all he can come up with is stealing the belt and doesn't actually want to punch him in the mouth. Daniel Bryan did less shit-talking to Roman Reigns than Brock Lesnar has, and Roman Reigns beat the shit out of him on Raw. Or they both really went at each other, the Raw before they went in the fast lane. You're telling me Brock Lesnar wouldn't have done that after he took his title from him? That's why the build has been bad to this. That's why I said last night, and why most people said last night, what is the point in watching this match? What was the selling point there? A Paul Heyman promo? Because Paul Heyman's been carrying this whole damn thing the whole time. There's only so much Paul can do. At some point, it comes down to the two guys that are actually in this match. And when the two guys that are actually in this match give you that, after everything Paul Heyman has said about both of these guys, it's underwhelming and it doesn't do the job. End of story.